Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the Amnesic Incognito Live System, better known as Tails. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So what is Tails? It's an entire operating system built with privacy in mind. Tails is used by activists, journalists, even domestic violence survivors. You know who else can use Tails? You. You can use Tails. Anyone can use it. How does Tails work? It's actually really simple. Tails is amnesiac. What that means is it primarily runs off your computer's RAM, and because RAM is temporary, every time you shut down or restart, everything from your last session is gone. So for example, the next time you boot up Tails, nothing's there. It's as if there was a whole factory reset. And like always, if you need help, always refer back to the official documentation. Let's go ahead and install Tails. First, choose whatever your host operating system is. In my case, it's going to be Windows. Now, the ideal way to run Tails is off a USB drive. All you need is an 8 gig USB drive and a PC with at least 2 gigs of RAM. In the instructions, it mentions using Rufus to flash your thumb drive. You don't have to use Rufus. I prefer Balena Etcher, and it works just as well. Now you can run Tails in a VM, but honestly that kind of defeats the purpose. In this video, I'll be running Tails in a VM just so I can show you what Tails has to offer, but ideally you want to run Tails off a USB drive. We are here on Balena Etcher, and what we need to do is flash our hard drive with the Tails image. Keep in mind, whatever you have on that hard drive will be erased, so just keep that in mind before you start this process. First, we'll select our Tails image right here. Now we'll select our USB drive. Then we'll go ahead and click flash and let Balena Etcher do its thing. Now that our thumb drive is flashed, let's go ahead and boot up Tails. So right now I'm in the VM version of Tails. I just want to go over a few things before we dive in. With any system, you can set your admin password, and with Tails that's optional. This is one of the privacy security features that Tails gives you by default. It's designed so you don't have to have admin access automatically unless you choose to enable it. Another interesting feature you can do with Tails is obfuscating your MAC address. A MAC address is like a unique ID tag for your devices when it's on a Wi-Fi network. Of course, there's a lot more to it when it comes to explaining what a MAC address is, but this is the TL Doctor version of it. And with Tails, your MAC address can be randomized so the network doesn't see your real MAC address. Tails also gives you an option called the unsafe browser. This is only here to help you log into Wi-Fi networks that use a captive portal, like a hotel or airport Wi-Fi, where you have to accept terms or sign in first. But it's called unsafe for a reason. It's not anonymous, so it can expose your real identity, so you should only use it to get connected and then stick to the Tor browser for everything else. So let's take a look at our Tor browser right quick. Now that we're connected, let's check our IP address, and as you can see here, my IP address is different from my original one. When I looked this up, this IP address was related to Austria. Switching over to my laptop, I'm able to show you how persistent storage works. Whenever you're using the VM version of Tails, you don't have the option for persistent storage. It's going to ask you to set a password, and once we turn this on, it can save certain things between reboots, like some settings. For example, we can save our Wi-Fi settings and include the passwords. Now when we go to files, you see a folder called persistent. Anything you want to carry over to your next session has to be stored in this folder. So for example, I'm just gonna do a random text document and then I'm gonna go ahead and save it to our persistent folder. So next time we start up Tails, that text document will be in our persistent folder. With Tails, we're also able to clean up metadata from a file. I did a video about metadata, I'll leave a link down below. But to sum up what metadata is, it's the information that we don't see. It's that information that you have to take a closer look to really see what kind of data we have. For example, one of the things we can see with metadata is the location of where a particular picture was taken, for example. With Tails Metadata Cleaner, we can strip the extra data off a file. I'll use this picture here as an example, just so I can show you guys how it works. All we need to do is just select a file, then click clean, and now the file is clean of the metadata. Another tool Tails includes is a password manager called KeePass XC. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to work. It's like any other password manager, but it has something a little bit extra for you. First, we'll go ahead and create a new database. Next, we're gonna go ahead and set a master password. This is the password to KeePass XC, so make sure you have a strong password. For this example, our password's just gonna be password, but in a real world scenario, make sure you have a stronger password. Next, it will ask you where you want to save the database file. For this demo, we're just gonna save it in our desktop. Now we can add an entry. I'm just gonna add some random stuff just so you guys understand how it works. Now that everything's saved, when we go to our desktop folder, as you can see here, our database files are right here. Another thing KeePass can do is it can generate a password for you. And right here, you can set up the parameters like length, whether you want uppercase or lowercase, numbers, symbols. Definitely check out this tool. Finally, here's something I didn't know Tails has. It's called Onion Share. With Onion Share, you can share files, host a website, chat, receive files, all securely over the Tor network. What I'm going to show you today is just the file sharing and the chat options that we have. The chat option is really easy to use. All we need to do is just click Start Server. It will generate a password and a link to our chat room. When we copy and paste everything, as you can see here, we're in our own private chat room. Switching over to my Kali Linux machine, I'm going to show you what it looks like from someone else's point of view. All we do is the exact same thing we did on our Tails OS. We just copy and paste the link and the password. And here we are, we're here in our chat room. And here's a side-by-side on what everything looks like. Just ignore those other usernames. That was for testing for this video today. And finally, we have the file sharing option, which is really easy, just as simple like the chat option I showed you guys. All we do is pick a file, add it, and start sharing. Onion Share will give us a link and a password, then we copy and paste that link over on our Kali machine. And just like that, we can see an access page and the download file. So that's Tails. Of course, there's a lot more options that we can do with it, but this is just kind of a bare bones video of showing you what Tails has to offer. Down below, let me know if you guys use Tails or if you're thinking about using it. And like always, thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you on the next one.